If you open this website called haveibeenowned.com and type in your email, you'll see how many times your password has been breached. The number that comes back is how many public data breaches your information has appeared in. The average person sees somewhere between 3 and 12. If you've used the same email for over a decade, 20 or more. Your password, or a password you've used, is almost certainly in one of those breaches right now, sitting in a file on a stranger's laptop, free to download. I'll expose 6 ways hackers find your password. Some of them need no hacking. I'll also share one universal mistake most people make. Method 1, they already have it. If you've ever made an account on a website that later got breached, your password may already be in a hacker's database. July 4th, 2024, Independence Day. A user going by Obamacare uploads a file to a hacker forum called Breach Forums. The file is a single text document. 9.9 billion passwords, the largest plain text password leak in human history. It has a name, RockU 2024, free to download. Anyone with a torrent client can have it in an hour. Researchers who picked apart the file later found that some of it is padding, random strings, AI-generated noise, duplicates with white space tricks. The operationally useful subset is still in the billions. The ground truth doesn't change. Almost every password ever leaked, anywhere, lives in a file called RockU 2024, or one like it. 6 months earlier, January, a different leak nicknamed Moab, mother of all breaches, surfaced with 26 billion records. 12 terabytes, names, emails, passwords, addresses, phone numbers, scraped LinkedIn profiles, leaked Tencent databases, compiled from every major breach of the last 15 years and dumped into one searchable index. This is the ground state of the internet in 2026. Almost everything you've ever typed into a login form is out there. The hackers don't have to find your password. They have to know which file it's in. The public-friendly version of the search is Have I Been Pawned, built by an Australian security researcher named Troy Hunt in 2013. Hosted on Cloudflare, it tracks over 13 billion compromised accounts. Banks use it, governments use it, hackers use it too, to verify their own dumps are fresh before selling. The hacker-facing version is dirtier. Forums like Breach Forums, Russian-speaking Telegram channels that update daily. A serious breach search service costs about $50 a month. For that, you get a Google-style search box. You type an email. You see every password that email has ever used across every breach the service has indexed. The hacker doesn't have to attack you, the breach already happened. They just have to log in, and if you don't have two-factor authentication, you're cooked. Method 2, credential stuffing, the attack that ruins you. If you reuse passwords across more than one website, this is the attack that ruins you. The hacker has one password of yours from a breach. They don't care which one. They take it and try it on Gmail, Netflix, your bank, your work email, crypto exchanges, the VPN you used at a job 5 years ago. If you reuse that password, even with a 1 added at the end, even with a capital letter swapped, they're in. The attack has a name, credential stuffing. The tooling is free. OpenBullet 2, Sentry MBA, dozens of automated frameworks that take a list of email password pairs and test them against thousands of websites in parallel. A modern setup hits 100,000 login attempts per hour through rotated proxies. The textbook case is the Snowflake breaches of 2024. A threat actor Mandiant calls UNC 5537 ran credential stuffing against Snowflake corporate cloud accounts, using passwords harvested from InfoStealer logs going back years. The downstream victims, Ticketmaster, 560 million records, a TNT, 110 million, Santander, LendingTree, Advanced Auto Parts, Neiman Marcus. The Snowflake accounts didn't have multi-factor authentication enforced. The passwords were sitting in Stealer logs from 2020. The breach was 4 years in the making and required no exploit, no zero-day, no hack in the cinematic sense. Just login attempts run at scale, against people who reused their password. Look, if this video made you actually want to learn hacking, not just watch it, I built a place for that. Welcome to the Hacker Academy. Here's some of the things you get instant access to. The OSINT Field Manual. Learn how to find anyone online from a single photo, username, or email. A full course on hacking websites and Wi-Fi hacking. Learn how to build your own AI hacking agent that runs on your computer 24/7. The full beginner to pro hacking guide. And the pro hacking cheat sheets I personally use every single day. For $9 a month, you get lifetime access, locked at that price point. You can check it out via the link in the description. Method 3, cracking the hash. If a website stored your password as a hash, this is how that hash becomes your password. June 2012. A Russian hacker forum gets a post. 6.5 million SHA-1 password hashes. They came from LinkedIn, unsalted, meaning no random data was mixed in before hashing. Within 48 hours, security researchers and amateur crackers had reversed over 90% of them. Within a week, the most common LinkedIn passwords of 2012 were public. LinkedIn was the top one, password was second. The full dump turned out to be 117 million accounts. It didn't surface for 4 more years. Here's how this works. Most responsible websites don't store your password in plain text. They store a hash, a one-way mathematical fingerprint. When you log in, they hash what you typed and compare it to what they have on file. The hash itself can't be reversed, in theory. In practice, when a database leaks, hackers download the hashes and feed them into Hashcat. Hashcat is free, open source, and runs on consumer graphics cards. A single NVIDIA RTX 409 computes over 160 billion guesses per second against MD5, 50 billion per second against SHA1. A rented GPU farm, 20 cards in a data center, hits over 1 trillion. The guess list isn't random, it's a word list. The most famous one is called rocku.txt. There are over 14 million unique passwords in that list alone, named after the 2009 breach of a social gaming website called Rocku, which stored 32 million accounts in plaintext. Researchers extracted every unique password and packaged them into a single file. That file is now the default password dictionary for every hacker on Earth. Method 4. The info stealer. If you saved a password in your browser, this is the malware that takes it. There's a class of malware called info stealers. One job: it runs silently on your computer. Finds every saved password in Chrome, Firefox, Edge, Brave, every cookie session, every Discord token, every crypto wallet seed phrase, every saved credit card. Packages it all into a zip file, uploads the file to a server in Russia or Kazakhstan, deletes itself. The whole process takes about 10 seconds. It's sold as a service. The biggest names in 2024 were Redline, Llama C2, Raccoon, and Vidar. The model is called malware as a service. You pay between $100 and $300 a month to rent the malware. You get an admin panel. You distribute it through pirated software, cracked games, fake YouTube tutorial links, malicious Discord servers. Every time the malware runs on a new computer, you get the harvested file. The technical term for what's in that file is a stealer log. The stealer log economy is enormous. Logs get aggregated, sorted, and sold by the thousand on Telegram channels. A fresh log sells for between $5 and $20. A log that includes a corporate VPN credential or a crypto exchange session sells for hundreds. When you read that 12 billion credentials leaked in some massive dump, this is usually where they came from the computer of someone who downloaded a free copy of Photoshop in 2023 and forgot about it. Chrome's built-in password manager has been a primary stealer target for years. The passwords are stored on disk in a format the stealer reads in under a second. Let Chrome remember your passwords is one of the most dangerous defaults on the internet. Method 5. Phishing that beats your MFA. If you turned on two-factor authentication and felt safe, this is how they still log in as you. Modern phishing isn't a misspelled email from a Nigerian prince, it's a perfect clone of your bank's login page, served from a domain that looks identical at a glance, gmaii.com with a capital Y instead of a lowercase l, or a Cyrillic letter that looks like a Latin A but isn't. You click. You see your bank's logo, your bank's colors, your bank's login form. You type your username. You type your password. You get the two-factor prompt. You type the 6-digit code from your authenticator. You're logged in. Everything looks fine. What actually happened? The fake page was running a tool called EvilGinx 3. EvilGinx is a reverse proxy. While you were typing into the fake page, it was relaying every keystroke to the real bank in real time. Your password went through. Your two-factor code went through. The bank issued a session cookie. The cookie went to EvilGinx, not to you. Now the attacker has a live authenticated session in your bank account. The two-factor code you just used can't be reused to lock them out. The attack has a name, adversary in the middle, AiTM. It defeats every form of multi-factor authentication except one physical hardware security keys like YubiKeys and modern passkeys. Those are cryptographically bound to the real domain. They refuse to authenticate to a clone. The most expensive recent example is the MGM and Caesars breaches of 2023. The hackers didn't write custom malware. They called the IT help desks, used names scraped from LinkedIn, social engineered their way into MFA resets. Caesars paid an estimated $15 million ransom. MGM refused. MGM's outage cost them, by their own SEC filing, over $100 million. The password is rarely the hard part anymore. The hard part is what's behind it, and it's being routed around. Method 6. The SIM swap. Social engineered their way into MFA resets. Caesars paid an estimated $15 million ransom. MGM refused. Sometimes the attacker doesn't need your password. They need your phone number. A SIM swap works like this. The attacker has your name, your address, the last four of your social, easy, all in one of the breaches mentioned earlier. They call your mobile carrier. They impersonate you. They claim they got a new phone and need to transfer service. The carrier rep, paid hourly, dealing with hundreds of calls, ports your number to a new SIM card the attacker controls. Your phone goes dark. The attacker's phone now receives every text message sent to your number, including every password reset link, including every 6-digit SMS-based two-factor code. Within an hour, they own your email, your bank, your crypto exchange, and any other account that uses your phone number for recovery. August 30th, 2019. Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Twitter at the time, has his own Twitter account SIM swapped. His personal account, the one that ran the company, it posted racial slurs for 15 minutes before Twitter security regained control. If the CEO of Twitter isn't immune, you aren't either. The Scattered Spider Group used SIM swaps as part of their MGM and Caesars campaign. The Department of Justice indicted multiple alleged members in 2024. Sometimes the attacker doesn't need your password. They need your phone number. A SIM swap works like this. You can sometimes pay a carrier employee a few $100s to do it from the inside. The universal mistake. This is the one thing that makes every method above worse. You reuse passwords. Google ran a study. 65% of people reuse passwords across multiple accounts. The average person has between 100 and 200 online accounts and somewhere between 5 and 10 distinct passwords. Each password protects 10 to 20 different accounts. One breach unlocks the rest. The hackers know how people reuse. They know summer 2024 becomes summer 2025. They know Netflix 1 becomes Amazon 1. They know if your LinkedIn password was Falcon99, your Gmail is probably Falcon99 or Falcon99 or Falcon99 Gmail. Modern crackers generate these variations automatically, using rules in a hashcat file called best64.rule. 64 common transformations tested in a fraction of a second. When you reuse, every site becomes an attack vector. The forgotten forum from 2012 becomes the doorway into your bank. 5 of the 6 methods above can be defeated. This one cannot until you stop reusing.